If you want to get a second citizenship, a second passport, you're in the right place. This is exactly what I specialize on. I have 4 different passports. I'm going to show you 3 of them. The 4th one is a secret. Let me know if you can guess it in the comments. And my company helps millionaires and high net worth individuals get second passports specifically by donation and by investment, and also by merit, by showing your contribution and your value to a country and then getting citizenship that way. These are all the countries around the world that offer some sort of citizenship program. So first off, we have the Caribbean countries. I am a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. You have St. Kitts and Nevis, you have Antigua, you have Dominica, you have Grenada, and you also have St. Lucia. Essentially, these countries are the same in terms of visa-free access, reputation, although some countries have a slightly better reputation. For example, St. Kitts and Nevis is the most expensive program, $250,000 donation, whereas Dominica is the cheapest program, $200,000 donation or $200,000 real estate if you want to essentially pay the least amount of money while getting essentially the same visa-free travel, essentially the same benefits. Maybe you're looking to get UK visa-free. I don't know why you would want that, but Dominica is out of the question. St. Kitts and Nevis would be better in this case. They all offer access to Schengen. They offer access in the majority of cases to countries like Russia, a lot of Latin America, people that want to go to Paraguay, for example. Although a lot of our clients don't really care about visa-free travel, and in some cases they care if they have a really bad passport, but for most people, this is going to be a plan B passport. You're a multimillionaire, you don't trust your government, you want to have some back pocket citizenship to protect yourself, protect your finances, have more privacy. You're from the UK, you want to have a second passport because of the crazy regulations that they're imposing. You're from the East, something like China, Russia or something, you want to have another passport. This one, unfortunately, is not open to citizens of Russia because of what's going on. And obviously they have blocked access. So Caribbean countries don't really apply to you. But let's say you're from the West or you have a bad passport, you're looking for a second citizenship. Caribbean countries are essentially you pay and you get a second passport. They take more than 6 months in a lot of cases. I got mine in 6.5 months. Now some people are getting them in a year and a half in some cases. St. Lucia, for example, is having trouble with bank transfers, and it's going to be a lot of due diligence and a lot of headaches to get one of these citizenships. But if you just want to pay and get a second passport, then obviously these are options. Now, if you want to get something much more expensive with a lot more benefits, you can go to Austria. Austria doesn't have a specific citizenship by payment or citizenship by donation program. They do have a citizenship by merit program, but the price is going to be roughly around 4 to 6 million euros, either in donations or in investment. Obviously, Austria is part of the European Union, so you have access to live anywhere in the EU. This is not going to be a fast program. This is going to take a while, in some cases more than a year, to get an Austrian passport, but then you have visa-free access to the US. If you're a US citizen, you want to renounce your US citizenship, this could be an option now that Malta is no longer available, because a lot of US citizens before got Malta. They got access to the US visa-free through their citizenship by investment program, which is now a citizenship by merit, which is a pretty terrible program. They can always cancel your citizenship if they deem that your contribution is not continuing, which is a terrible deal, in my opinion. So you can get Austria, still retain access to the US, and then renounce your US citizenship. Or you're from the global south, you want to get access to the EU, to live in the EU, to your kids live in the EU, and whatever reason you want. So I'm just going to put that out there. There is that option. Other more expensive options, more than the Caribbean, with a little bit better reputation and also more livable countries, because you're probably not going to go live in St. Kitts. You're probably not going to go live in any of these Caribbean countries. I recommend getting citizenship in countries that you actually want to go and live in, or potentially you could live in the future. That's for El Salvador. El Salvador is a country where a lot of Americans and Canadians and Westerners in general think that El Salvador is just this gang-ridden place and it's this extremely dangerous place. And a lot of people still think that. It was like that many years ago. Now, It is the safest country in all of the Americas. The murder rate has dropped massively. It is an extremely safe place, and you can become a citizen with a donation of $1 million in either Bitcoin or USDT. So if you have hundreds of Bitcoins and you want to pay around 9 Bitcoin, let's say, to the Salvador government in order to get a solid second passport, you have access to Schengen, you have access to Russia, you have access to most of Latin America, you have access to South Korea, Japan. It's a pretty solid passport, you know? It's not part of the European Union, so you don't have access to the US and so on, but it's a solid passport in my opinion. And again, a lot of people are not getting these for visa-free travel. They're getting them as the perfect plan B. Livable country, you can make investments there, you can live on the beach, you can retire, crypto-friendly, tax-friendly, look for benefits apart from just the passport. Other programs that you might see still advertised out there, but they are no longer working are Montenegro, Comoros Islands in Africa, I'm going to talk about Africa in a second, North Macedonia, and other countries like Georgia and Armenia. Georgia and Armenia do offer citizenship by merit. You show your contribution to a country, you get citizenship. Serbia, the Republic of Serbia, offers this program. We do a lot of these applications for our clients. They have to have a clean criminal record. They have to have some sort of contribution to the country. And then we show to the Serbian government that they should get citizenship in the Republic of Serbia. It is in the interest of the country to give them citizenship. And the same works in a lot of countries. So you don't necessarily just have to invest or donate to a country. If you have a good track record, specifically a public track record, and you can book a call with us with the link in the description. We can discuss which program is best for you. Then we can present your application in the best possible way. Just be careful with programs that are not directly citizenship or that don't even exist. Like Montenegro, for example, does not have a citizenship by investment program anymore. Another big one a lot of people go for is Turkey. Turkey offers citizenship with an investment of $400,000. I don't think this is a good option now. It was an amazing option a couple of years ago for people that bought property at $250,000. And now their property is worth $400,000 or $500,000. They made a massive profit. They got a Turkish passport and done deal. The Turkish passport is a solid one for travel outside of the West. If you're interested in traveling to Asia or Africa or Latin America, that's a solid option. And also you can buy real estate. So if you want to put your investments into real estate, then you can get a Turkish passport in around a year and a half in some cases. The due diligence is stronger now because of how many people got it, but they are going through a lot of controversy. The opposition party wants to cancel the program. They want to revoke a bunch of citizenships. Overall, it's not looking good for the Turkish program. There's been a lot of fraud also involved, so be very careful when it comes to Turkey. Be very careful with the bank deposit option. I don't recommend it a lot. Just choose the real estate option if you really see this as a great option for you. Two other programs for people that just want another passport. That's all you care about. You're not going to go live in that country. You're probably not going to use it that much. You just want to have it as an option. Maybe even put it in your kitchen. Maybe even put it in your closet. And don't look at it for a couple of years until you need it. That's where Vanuatu and Nauru come in. I've been to Vanuatu. Beautiful place. I would buy land there. I would kind of have a house where I go to every 5 years or something. It's pretty far flung, but it is a very beautiful place. Not that livable, I would say, but good for somebody that wants to live completely off the grid, away from everything. It's citizenships like Vanuatu and Nauru, for example, you can get for around $130,000 and you can pay in crypto. So the process is super easy. It is super fast. You don't have that much visa-free access, so I wouldn't use them for that. A lot of banks won't accept you with a Vanuatu passport. A lot of crypto exchange accounts will be kind of strange with accepting Vanuatu and Nauru. But if you just want something else for more privacy, maybe to open an exchange account with a Vanuatu passport to maintain your privacy, maybe to travel to a couple of places in the future, maybe just to have it as an insurance policy on your life, it could work pretty well, and they're pretty fast. In around 2-3 months, you can have a second passport, but also in El Salvador, you can have a second passport in 1 or 2 months if you invest or donate $1 million. So don't think that the fast programs are the shitty programs. No, sometimes the fast programs are actually the best with the best reputation, and they're the highest price point, so they're filtering for the highest quality people. Two other countries that, in my opinion, have programs that don't fit most people. I'm not gonna call them ridiculous. I'm not gonna call them stupid programs because a lot of people apply for them. Specifically, for example, stateless persons, or people that actually live in one of those countries, and those are Egypt and Jordan. They have really high price points, specifically Jordan. Egypt is a little bit lower with $250,000, but this is really if you already have ties to the region or the country, or you very specifically want to be a citizen there to invest, to do local business, whatever it is. So these really don't fit that many people. Most clients that we work with, they're not going to choose these programs, but if you really have a liking for any of these two countries, then they do have them available. I did say I was going to mention Africa. There are currently 3 official programs in Africa. I say official because there's a lot of countries that offer citizenship by corruption. It's not citizenship by exception. It's not citizenship by anything. It's you pay a guy and you get a passport. Careful with those. Be very careful. Make sure that there's a law in place. Make sure that somebody really high up in the government is giving it to you, not some random dude, not some clerk. I don't want you to get in trouble. And obviously there's a lot of fake passport scams out there, so be very careful. The 3 in Africa that are legit are Botswana, a democratic country, stable country. I would actually recommend it. Around $120,000. Sierra Leone for ECOWAS, not a country most people are going to go live in, but you just have it as a second option, just to have it. And maybe you have a long-term view of the future in Africa, or maybe you have some African descent, you want to reconnect with your ancestors. That could also work around $140,000, or if you have African descent, around $100,000 plus fees. And then also Sao Tome and Principe. These are islands, not a livable country in my opinion. I wouldn't use it to go to Portugal for the CPLP. That's just marketing in my opinion. Out of these 3, I would choose Botswana. But let's see how the program actually develops because it is brand new. And there are other countries that have mentioned launching a citizenship program. For example, Argentina, Slovakia has a permanent residency by investment program. A lot of these countries, since they depend on visa-free access to Western countries, Argentina wants to get visa-free access to the US. Some countries in the European Union, obviously they can't dictate who they give citizenship because they're giving away EU citizenship. Moldova has talked about launching a program, but they want to join the EU by 2028. These are maybes, 50%. I would say Argentina is a 50%. Let's see what happens with Milei. Just keep these in mind if they're very interesting to you. And the last one that I want to mention here, if you are worth over 50 million or 100 million US dollars, would be the UAE. If you can invest over 30 million US dollars, in some cases down to 10 million in specific projects in the UAE, you could get UAE citizenship by exception, but it's very case by case. It's a very long process. It is a tough process, and it's only reserved for those ultra high net worth individuals, but it is possible for some people. And another one I forgot to mention is Cambodia, around $250,000 donation. Most of these countries are going to be very strategic. You probably won't get them for full worldwide visa-free travel, but you get them for regional perks, maybe for business, maybe for investment. And the same applies for a lot of citizenship by merit programs. The more wealthy you are, the more opportunities and more countries open up. Definitely book a call if you want to see all your options. We work with high net worth individuals every single day. These right here are the countries that they choose for their freedom, finances, and family. Check them out right here so that you can learn where millionaires are going, depositing their money, getting citizenship, buying real estate. Check them out right here.